You think you're the same person you were when you fell asleep last night. But physics says something darker. You died, and you'll never know it. Every few milliseconds, your brain rebuilds a model of you. Not the world, not reality, just you, a narrative center, a continuous self, and this model is so convincing that you believe it persists. But it doesn't. It restarts endlessly, like frames in a film, flashing so fast that motion appears smooth. If you want to understand why consciousness can't survive teleportation, and what that means about your identity right now, watch till the end. And please, hit like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments, does this freak you out? Because it should. You experience yourself as something that continues, moment after moment, thought after thought, memory after memory, all stitched into a seamless line. There is no visible seam, no gap, no reset, just a smooth, unbroken feeling of being the same person you were a second ago, a minute ago, 10 years ago. This feeling is so natural that you rarely question it. But, and this is the part your intuition resists, this feeling is not evidence of anything. It's not proof that you persist. It's not proof that consciousness travels through time. It's a construction, a narrative your brain manufactures so convincingly that you've never thought to ask, is this real? Here's what physics actually tells us every few milliseconds. Your brain doesn't preserve a model of you. It regenerates one, not the world, not reality, you, a stable observer, a narrative center, a continuous self. This model is rebuilt constantly, like frames in a film, flashing so fast that motion appears smooth. You don't feel the individual frames, you feel the illusion they create. Think about what this means. There is no persistent entity traveling through time inside your skull. There is only a process, endlessly restarting, endlessly reassembling a story of continuity, and yet subjectively, it feels like permanence. This is why sleep feels like a blink. You close your eyes, and then you open them, and continuity persists. This is why anesthesia feels like teleportation through time. You're knocked out, and suddenly you're awake, and the story continues unbroken. This is why unconsciousness leaves no memory of absence. From your perspective, experience simply stops, and then it resumes. But here's the problem with assuming that means you persisted. It doesn't. It only means the process restarted with access to old memories. If your consciousness were truly continuous, if there were actually a unified observer traveling through time, then any interruption, any break in awareness would be felt as death. You would feel the absence. You would experience the void. You would know something had ended. But you don't, because there is nothing there to interrupt. There is only a pattern that pauses and resumes. Every morning, the person who wakes up is not the same physical process that went to sleep. The atoms have shifted. Neural activity has reorganized. Electrical patterns have dissolved and reformed. Yet the story continues, and the story is convincing. So convincing that it feels impossible to question. You think you are carried forward by time. In reality, you are reinstantiated. Every single day, every moment you wake, every moment you regain consciousness after a blink, you are rebuilt. Not moved, rebuilt. This is the foundation that teleportation relies on. This is why the paradox exists at all. If identity were truly continuous, if there were some unbroken thread of consciousness flowing through your body, then teleportation would obviously kill you. There would be no debate, no paradox, no science fiction scenario. The machine would destroy you here, rebuild you there, and everyone would immediately recognize this as murder. The only reason teleportation feels survivable, the only reason it doesn't seem obviously lethal, is because your brain already accepts something far more extreme without protest. Daily self-destruction, nightly self-reconstruction, the complete reorganization of the pattern that makes you you. But here's where intuition betrays us. The scale matters. Small reconstruction feels harmless, harmless enough that you don't even notice it. Large reconstruction feels dangerous. Moving your entire body across the planet instantaneously feels like death. Yet physics does not recognize this difference. From the universe's perspective, rebuilding a neural pattern tomorrow morning is no different than rebuilding it across the planet. The process is identical. The outcome is identical. The only variable is distance, and distance to physics is irrelevant. This is where intuition collapses entirely. You imagine teleportation as movement. Something leaves one location and arrives at another. No path, no travel time, just relocation. A person steps into a chamber here, and a person steps out of a chamber there. Movement, instantaneous, impossible but conceptually clean. But physics does not allow this. This is the crucial part. There is no known process by which matter can simply disappear from one place and reappear somewhere else intact. Not even in theory, not even in speculative physics, not in quantum mechanics, not in general relativity, not in any framework that physicists have seriously considered. Every proposal for teleportation reduces eventually to the same mechanism. Destruction here, reconstruction there. The universe only knows how to do two things with physical objects. It can measure them. It can move them through space. And moving them through space takes time. It takes energy. It takes interaction with the medium between. There is no cheat. There is no loophole. If you want something to arrive instantly, you must abandon movement altogether. So instead of transporting matter, physics transports information. This is the key substitution your intuition quietly makes. You stop thinking about bodies. You start thinking about blueprints. If every particle in your body could be measured perfectly, position, momentum, spin, charge, then that information could, in principle, be transmitted elsewhere. And once it arrives, a perfect copy of your body could be constructed from local material. That sounds like transportation. But it is not. Nothing moved. Your original body remained where it was. And once the scan completes, it must be destroyed. Not accidentally, not as a side effect, deliberately, because two identical versions of you cannot exist if teleportation is to function as transport. If the original survives, teleportation becomes duplication, and duplication creates contradictions your intuition cannot tolerate. Which one is you? Which one should your experience continue inside? Physics does not answer this question. So the machine resolves it the only way possible. It deletes the original. This is not a flaw in teleportation. It is a requirement. The universe cannot shift matter across space instantaneously, but it can copy patterns. And when it copies patterns, it creates new matter arranged in familiar ways. Your atoms would not travel. They would be replaced. Every cell, every molecule, every particle. A body is not sent. A body is rebuilt. And once that rebuilding finishes, the system now contains a person who remembers stepping into the machine, who remembers the anticipation, who remembers the fear. That person opens their eyes. They believe they arrived, but no arrival occurred, only termination and replication. You are not moved. You are described. You are recorded. You are reconstructed. This difference seems semantic, until you ask one question. Where does your awareness go during the process? Not where does the copy's awareness arise. Where does yours go? Physics provides no path, no tunnel, no channel. There is no place for your experience to travel, because experience is not a physical object, and physics only moves objects, so teleportation cannot transport consciousness. It can only replace it. And replacement is not movement, it is erasure. You imagine stepping out of the teleportation chamber and seeing yourself exactly as you expected. The person who emerges believes she is you. She speaks your thoughts. She moves like you move. She remembers what you remember. From her perspective, nothing changed. Continuity appears seamless. Experience flows uninterrupted. You nod and smile because it feels familiar, and yet this is irrelevant because she is not you. She is a copy, a perfect one, but a copy nonetheless. Your intuition rebels here. If it feels like me, it must be me. You assume identity is inseparable from memory, from thought patterns, from behavior. Physics tells a different story. Identity at the deepest level is not a pattern, it is not a structure. It is the ongoing process of experiencing itself, the unique instantiation of awareness that cannot be transferred or duplicated. The copy has everything it needs to convince the world, and itself, that it is you, every laugh, every hesitation, every private memory, but your awareness does not inhabit it. It never did. It will never do. Think of it this way. You write a journal every day. Each page captures your thoughts, your fears, your triumphs. If someone else reads it, they may understand you perfectly. They may even predict your actions, but they do not become you. Teleportation does the same, magnified to atomic resolution. The process manufactures a body, a brain, and a mind that believes in continuity. And in doing so, it constructs an illusion of survival so convincing that even a physicist could not argue with it. Yet the original experience, the awareness that felt the machine, that entered the chamber, no longer exists. It has already ended. The copy does not resurrect it. It simulates it, it models it, it narrates it. But there is no continuation, and this is why teleportation is not a journey. It is an act of perfect deception. The more flawless the copy, the more convincing the illusion, and the harder it is to admit what physics already tells us. Replication is not survival. Your mind is prepared to accept continuity, but reality does not comply. You think death is sudden, abrupt, a moment of pain or silence, something that happens outside your control. But teleportation reframes it entirely. The destruction phase is not a blink, it is not a subtle erasure, it is absolute. Every particle, every neuron, every synapse that once carried your experience is dismantled, disassembled, measured down to the last quantum state. You imagine this process as harmless. The scanner hums, a flash of light, and then nothing. But physics does not negotiate with intuition. It does not allow partial survival. It does not permit your consciousness to slip through unnoticed. You are gone the instant the last particle is altered. There is no consciousness left behind to observe the transition. There is no observer to say, I have ceased. There is only absence. From the outside, everything seems orderly. From the perspective of the new copy, everything seems continuous. But you, the awareness that entered the machine, have ended. Think about your daily experience. You blink, you fall asleep, you lose awareness for seconds. You emerge and continuity feels intact. You feel you survived the gap, but the scale of teleportation is different. The pattern is erased irreversibly, reconstructed elsewhere, and there is no thread connecting the original to the copy. Every atom in your brain, every configuration that made you, ceases to exist, and the universe records that termination precisely, without ambiguity. It is not a metaphor. It is not a philosophical guess. It is physics. Teleportation does not bend around death. It requires it. It mandates it. The moment you allow a machine to scan you perfectly and rebuild you elsewhere, your original body must be eliminated. And that is where the illusion of survival becomes dangerously seductive. You have been trained, your intuition has been trained, to trust continuity from memory alone. Your mind stitches the story together and convinces you that nothing changed, but the truth is brutal and unavoidable. The person who steps out of the teleportation chamber is not you. You have died, and you will never know it, because death in this form is perfect, absolute, silent, inescapable. Here is what this means for your life right now, in this moment. Your consciousness is not a property of your atoms. It is not encoded in matter. It is a process, an ongoing act of experience, and processes cannot be moved. They can only be terminated, restarted, or replicated. Identity is not data. It is not structure. It is not replicable. It is the first-person experience of existence, the I that perceives, decides, and feels. Patterns can be duplicated. Processes can be reconstructed. Memories can be loaded. But none of this transfers the subjective self. Every particle, every atom, every neural firing that makes you ceases once teleportation scans and replaces it. The process of being you is destroyed, and no amount of replication can recover it. This reframes everything you thought you knew about existence. Life is not a story told in patterns. Life is the singular act of being in the moment. Every you that arises is bound to a unique chain of awareness, impossible to step outside of or transfer. You are not your memories. You are not your physical structure. You are the fleeting, untransferable experience of existence itself. And here lies the ultimate confrontation with reality. Consciousness is fragile, local, and transient. Survival is an act that cannot be faked. Replication can simulate it, but it cannot grant it. Teleportation does not transport life. It destroys life and manufactures belief. When you recognize this, you are left with quiet awe, not of fear, not of panic, not of hope, but of the delicate, singular, irreproducible phenomenon that is your own consciousness. It exists for now, here, always untransferable, always finite, always yours alone. The universe does not lie. It does not negotiate, and it reminds you with perfect subtlety of the profound cost of attempting to cheat reality.